Hold on, let me make sure you can share your screen. Yep. Okay. So happy Monday. Hello, everybody. As I was saying, this is a great opportunity for all of us to learn from a wonderful colleague and friend, Mr. Alistair Brown.
Thank you.
Who has been in the development industry for over 35 years, who has worked domestically with WCI for many years, has worked at the Grove, got them going strong when they couldn't do it, who has worked on the Bahamas quite a lot. Where else have you done it internationally?
Oh gosh, number of countries, everywhere from Northern Canada, Western Canada, and Vancouver, down to San Francisco and across to the Caribbean. So Mexico, British Virgin Islands, US Virgin Islands, Bahamas, Anguilla, Antigua, Bahamas, Bermuda, and as well as domestically here. But I've also been in, France and Spain and Portugal and Italy. And essentially my life was built around new construction, new development, but most of it was in the hospitality side. So the hospitality piece was, and people, Ed and I have talked about this quite a lot, the combination of high-end hospitality and luxury brands and real estate is a great fit. And we're going to share some information this morning that just to kind of give you a little bit of an update on where the market I think is headed and why it's headed that way. Now, I'm not here to teach you all to sell. You're all brilliant at that, I'm sure. And what we will do is share some of the nuances that apply to the high-end branded residential side. For me, that is going to be a market that's going to continue to grow and grow and grow. When the market's doing really well, when we're all producing in the mid-price bracket, let's say from Central Florida, from 500 to 500 or maybe more, maybe 600,000 up to $1.5 million. That's where most of the middle market exists nowadays. So when that shrinks, okay, that's when everybody goes, oh, wait a minute, this is a tough market. And it is. There's no question about that. So how do you adjust to that? So many years ago, I was lucky. I got introduced to the industry in Scotland at a place called Cameron House on Loch Lomond. This was the first really, really super high-end project that I had ever seen. I was not working there, but I went and I persuaded them to give me a job. No idea what the hell I was doing, but I learned about the marketing side and understanding the archetypes of these buyers, the characteristics, the behaviors, the hobbies, pastimes, these kind of things. And I realized that that was way more important than the house that they were chasing. Because without knowing all of that, nobody needs a second home in Orlando, right? Reunion has got 1,500 homes that are essentially 95% second homes. Nobody needs one, right? Nobody, they want it. Same as Miami. We'll talk a little bit about Miami this morning. Nobody needs that. Now, new development comes in two sides. You've got the sort of vacation side, investment side, and it also becomes the everyday side. People buying new homes in Central Florida, across the state of Florida, every day. Now, why do they do that? Because something's changed in their life, right? They're relocating. Sotheby's are brilliant with that. They're really good. So people are relocating, people are retiring, people are spending inherited money, all of these kind of things. So we have to focus on that, and we'll talk a wee bit about that side. We'll also talk a bit about the thing that I think is most often missed on new development sales, and that is where people are coming from, right? Where they're coming from and what they're coming from is absolutely as important as what they're moving to, right? My friend Jeff Shore talks about the level of dissatisfaction that people have, okay? That we have to understand that. And when I ran sales for WCI for 4 or 5 years, our job was simply to understand all of the dissatisfaction before we started to talk about the solution. It's no different from, going to your husband with a legal problem. He doesn't provide a solution until he knows what the challenge is, what the area of dissatisfaction is. When you go to your doctor, you don't walk into the doctor and he throws a bunch of tablets at you and you start taking them. At least I hope you don't, right? You got to find out what the area of dissatisfaction is. So we'll talk a little bit about that. But I want to go through just a couple of things to start with, just to kind of get your appetite thinking about the world a wee bit differently in the ultra high net worth families and the people of this planet. And I'm going to share at the end of this how you get to them, where you find them, right? Okay. And how do you form that trusted advisor relationship? Has anybody heard of Trusted Advisor by Charles Green? Right, the trusted advisor, the trusted sales advisor. Charles is a very dear friend of mine. He wrote a book called The Trusted Advisor, which became The Trusted Sales Advisor. Go and buy that book, get online and understand what it means to do that. What we do, and we're in the trust business, right? Okay, nobody really cares about the knowledge that we have to find the homes on MLS. They can find that themselves. They can go to realtor.com, go to Zoopla or Rightmove, whatever they are on the planet, and they can find most of that. So our job isn't to give them more of what they have. We don't stand out. So the higher we go up the food chain, the higher the level of trust that needs to become, right? If somebody's throwing $250,000 at a 1 or 2 bedroom condo hotel in, I don't know, whatever, Bahama Bay or one of these developments, that's great. People have been on vacation, they get it, they know what it's all about. So we're going to talk a bit about that. We're going to talk a little bit about how the industry has developed. So, first question, in the last 2 or 3 years, has anybody engaged with a client that has been looking to buy at Golden Oak Four Seasons? Has anybody engaged with a client there? Okay. Has anybody engaged with a client that has talked to them about a luxury branded development? Anybody go with a brand that's gone, hey, I'm interested in anything that's hospitality, stuff like that? No? Okay, great.
Four Seasons, nothing.
Right, that's fine. We're going to show you that today. And I'm going to, of course, I'll be around if anybody wants to engage. I'm happy to continue, beyond today to show you how to do this. But it's the thing that makes you stand out. So this industry, if you talk about I'm no economics professor, but you can read between the lines, things are going to get pretty shitty. Am I allowed to say that? Right.
Well, you did.
Yeah,
so.
people are going to get pretty bad. Sorry about that. Pretty bad in the economy for the next few years. What's not going to change is the amount of wealth that the ultras have. Right. So for just for clarification, very high net worth is over very high net worth is over 5 million. Ultra high net worth is over 30 million, excluding the value of the main residence that they live in. Okay, so we're going to break that into two. I'm going to show you how to get to these people. All right, it's remarkably simple. It's not easy, but it's simple, if that makes sense. So anyway, I did an event at the beginning of the summer in Miami with a couple of hundred real estate agents, top-end real estate agents. I was one of the keynote speakers, and we came up with an outline.
Can you share your screen?
Share. Oh,
No, it's not shared.
Oh, I see. On here.
Yeah. Yeah. Perfect. Thank you.
Sorry, guys. Hopefully you all have that. I'm gonna make this go.
Yeah, that's perfect. They can
Is
see
that
it.
okay?
Yeah, it's good.
All right. So, according to Graham Associates out of London, over the last 3 or 4 years, we've seen continuous growth. I'll send you this, Emily. You can have it. Yeah, I'll make sure you get it. Okay. Now look down the line at these brands. Are there any that you don't know? Maybe Vida,
Mm-hmm.
address is a fairly new one, but the rest you probably know, okay? These are names that everybody, even you, inspired by Philippe Stark, probably well known, but Ritz-Carlton, Four Seasons, Trump, St. Regis, Fairmont, Mandarin, Rosewood, Westin, Six Senses, Waldorf, these are all names that we know.
Mhm.
Okay, now, I don't know your client base, you'll know who they are. But if you're not speaking to them about this, there's a chance that somebody else is. So I'm going to give you access and show you access. I've got some brochures here for you for some of the projects that I represent in Florida and beyond that will give you a foot up, let me say, a step up for that. So how do we do it? So if you look at the pipeline and the completed, look at the number of resorts that Ritz and Four Seasons have got, 120 over the last few years. Okay. On the demand side, what are buyers looking for? So we went to, has anybody dealt or heard of WealthX? Which is a high net worth data intelligence company. Anybody aware of that? So again, WealthX is now currently part of a company called Ultrata. Ultrata is a London-based data company that talks through the language of the high net worth. I'll show you, if anybody wants to get with me individually, I'll show you how you can do that. It's a personal investment. It takes time and effort and money, but you'll have access to the best people in the world. And if you do it properly, you'll have access to them forever. It's remarkable how these people buy stuff. We'll show you how to do that. But these were the most important things when people were looking at new development, right, which we're talking about, and luxury brand. Now, they're not always, sometimes you can't conflate the two, but there'll be times where they're separate. But in this case, the assurance and the quality of construction, design, servicing, and amenities. Those were the things that people talked about. How am I going to live my life with the services and the amenities, right? Who's going to build me the right quality home? And I want to have a bit of a design. If you go through Architectural Digest every month, you'll see all these developments. That's what people are looking at. Developers are advertising in them. That's your opportunity to look at that development, connect with the developer, okay, become a preferred broker. Everybody that's either on the call today, Carrie, or everybody that's here in this room today, I'm going to extend an invitation to them to come down to Miami for a weekend.
Oh, great.
All right. You're all going to get the chance to come down and learn about the Bentley Tower in Miami and one of their brand ambassadors. Okay. And no, it's not in your territory, but it's in the state of Florida, and you have a state of Florida real estate license. So
And we can sell anywhere. We're
Correct.
not talking about listing the Bentley Tower
No,
because they have
sell-
on-site. We're
Yes.
talking about selling.
Uh-huh.
And do we get paid well to sell the Bentley Tower?
Yes, you
Alistair?
get paid 4% commission.
And what is the sales price there?
Average sales price is about 3.5 million.
I'm sorry, nobody's interested in this,
Right.
right? No.
Right.
Okay.
And the great thing about it is myself and the guys on site and Callum, we do all the work for you, and that you just get 4%. Okay.
4% at
Right,
3
yeah,
million.
so-
Nobody's interested.
Yeah, right,
Nobody.
absolutely. And they've sold 100 homes right now. That group, which is the Dezer Group, D-E-Z-E-R, sorry, Z-E-R, D-E-Z-E-R, Dezer, have about $4 billion worth of real estate.
Wow.
Okay, now when we chase a listing or we chase a home that's available for sale, okay, you're either successful or you're not, and you start again, right? The benefit that I found was, because I'm a pretty simple guy, right, and I wasn't that smart, as most of you will know, the reason that I liked development was I learned it once, and I attached myself to a development. In some cases, I bought real estate in that development, right? Okay, I bought a place in there that elevates you all the way up. I'm not suggesting we all go out and spend 3.5 million. I'm sure most of us can afford to do that, but that's a big ask. But there are many ways to get in connection with a developer. Okay, developers want two things: sales and strong sales agents. They get inundated with people that are full of showing up, telling them everybody they've got all of these plans and they've got all of this, go sell something. Go prove to them, and you'll for the rest of your life, you'll have a relationship with somebody that's continually developing. It's unbelievable. So if anybody's interested to come to Miami at the end of October, we're putting a weekend on, and everybody you come and stay, come with your partners, your whatever.
Well, I'll be there.
Yeah, and come and stay at one of the developers' hotels on Sunny Isles, and spend the weekend understanding how to be a business partner, not to be a realtor, not demeaning the term realtor, but to be a business partner with these guys. You've got to think business-wise when you work with developers. When you're selling new development, you've got to think of yourself as an independent business person that wants to impress the builder, the developer. What makes me stand out? Okay, how do you build that? How do you do it? So again, Carrie and I will show you how to do that. Okay. The brand kudos or the bragging rights associated with a premium branded address. Right now, I'm getting ready. Well, we've been appointed in London to be the European and the UK sales company for the Four Seasons in the Bahamas. So we have been appointed to do that. And everybody understands has anybody ever stayed in a Four Seasons hotel?
Yep.
Don't let anybody tell you it's so magical it is.
Exactly.
Right? You know, if there's going to be a hurricane, your money will save you, right? It's one of those things. It's absolutely incredible, right? You know, I'm kidding. It probably won't. But the point is that, you know, if you're doing a sales presentation for a developer, okay, and that developer isn't known, you still got hard work in front of you. You got to tell the developer story, right? Does the developer have the ability to start, finish, and complete it the way that they say they are? Are they going to do it on time? Is it going to take them 3 years, 4 years, or 5 years? What's the experience? You've got to tell that story, and you've got to be convincing. Well, guess what? In the case of that fourth list that we talked about here, all of these people are trustworthy names. When you start, particularly with Four Seasons, right? You start at 50% of the way down the line. You don't have to start at zero because the name has done it for you. Do you think Four Seasons throws their name onto any developer? No chance. Do you think that, you know, Ritz-Carlton or Fairmont or Waldorf Astoria? No. So again, you're making your life easier because all the trust factor that we talked about, that trusted advisor is there. So you learn that presentation. You know it, and you just get better and better and better at it. And because there's 400 homes or 100 homes or whatever the number is to sell, right? You become efficient. You become more, you know the buildings, you know the stacks. You know that every stack's got a different floor plan. You know that as the building goes up, the homes get bigger or smaller. In the case of the Bentley Tower, which is a bit that shape, that the middle floors are actually the biggest and the best, right? That kind of thing. So our job in development is much easier. Most people ignore it. Now, we're not in a city that's got 1 million new developments going on all the time. We're not, right? And I'm not really sure why, but we're not limited to this. Jacksonville, the #1 growing city in Florida right now, all sorts of new development branded going in there. Miami, Fort Lauderdale, Boca, all of these, right? So throw the net out a bit bigger, right? And brand yourself like that. You'll be surprised at the results. Again, we'll talk about that. Okay, so look at the numbers. Look at this, right? When I first moved here in 1923, feels like that, Maria, right?
Yeah.
Right, okay. This is just, you know, gone on to that. I mean, it's a small number, right? So just to 2007, look at the growth, right? Buyer benefits, pretty straightforward. I'm not going to go through this list. You know what it is. But Zoe Dare Hall, who writes on the Financial Times. Anybody subscribe to the FT? The FT, there's a thing in the Financial Times called My FT, I think it's about $250 a year.
Mhm.
And you get access to content that you share with your audience, you share with your clients on another level. It's a bit like, does anybody know a company called Succession Advisors?
Mhm.
Right? So Succession Advisors is a wealth cap hub. It's a website. And it's built and designed for family office providers. We all know what family office providers do, right?
Mhm.
They have 8,000 family office providers on that portal. Now you can join that for $20 a month,
Wow.
right? Succession Advisors, $20 a month.
That's cheap.
I know the lady that started it, she's remarkable. She ran a number of family offices. She's out of Austin. Or I should say over here, Austin, Texas. You have to see the town and the state, right? And just see the town.
Mm.
So she is out of that remarkably talented woman who's provided content. You can't imagine the content you've got in here. Again, it's family office, so it's money,
Mhm.
right? So you're putting yourself in there, you're mixing, connecting with people that on that hub, just like you would if you were with WealthX. But these are the things that Maya wanted, right? This is the benefits to them, what they wanted. Okay, motivations. Okay, again, I'm not going to read that out to you. I'll share it. I want to come down here. So these are the places that we are seeing the growth. Now, we can't sell in Dubai, right? We're not even going to try. But the next two cities, Miami and New York, and even Boston isn't that far behind. Look at the growth in the pipeline. Miami's huge, and it grows every day. It's literally every day. So I would encourage you to look beyond the world that you're in right now. How does it work? How do prices work? Typically there are three levels. There's a high, a medium, and a high premium. So if you look at the 25 plus, those are for people that are buying Four Seasons, Waldorf, Six Senses, and maybe Ritz, Ritz is maybe in the next box down. So if you came to Miami and you saw the Bentley influence, everybody knows Bentley cars, right? Everybody knows somebody that drives a Bentley car. Probably some of you guys are driving Bentley cars, right? I think you are, Emily, right?
I would like to.
Yeah, good. So Bentley is a brand that is really iconically British, and a lot of the time, like in Miami, the same company had Porsche design as a tower in Sunny Isles, where you drove your car in to a parking area, and the car went up to the level that you live. They call it the deservator. He doesn't call it the elevator. The deservator is pretty cute. But this time in the Bentley Tower, you can have as many as 4 cars. Right? And 40 seconds to the 60th floor. 40 seconds.
Wow.
Now you can be in your car. I'm not suggesting that I would want to do that. I want to let my car walk like that. The car can't be turned off. But they've done it in such a way that Bentley have designed the landing area outside your home. You literally look like through a bit of glass like we've got here, and your car's right here. And they will actually put the car in the spot that you want. They'll even turn it around. So if you want to empty your trunk full of groceries, it'll be at the back of the house, near to the service area.
Okay, sold. I'll buy one.
Right, so you're right.
Person actually has groceries in there.
Well, yeah,
It's you're shopping though,
yeah,
Maria.
right, okay. Maybe it's the Val Harbor shops that
Yeah,
come from. You're probably right.
Exactly.
So,
Shoes.
the point is, all of these
Yeah.
little things,
No one else touches them.
as you'll see when you come down, just a real game changer. And these are the things that, people are constantly looking for. Now, how do you sell to these people, right? How do you even find them? How do you get to them? So that is the biggest piece, right? Now, I think that for most of us, we have a unique piece. My unique piece was my accent and the fact that I was a professional golfer, right? Accent, people listened to me. And with the golf, I had an unusual story because I can invite people to play golf for 4 hours and they would come because they felt that they were meeting good players, and your husband would be the same. He would be in that category, and he's got the law side, so people will do that. People don't want to. If I told them I wanted to come and sit in your office and talk about branded residential real estate for 4 hours, I know what the answer would be, right? Have
Pretty
a
short.
nice day, right? So having that unique thing. Now, you might be a brilliant cook, you might be a great artist, you might be a great musician, right? You might be a great athlete. Find somebody in your network that can influence it. Wealthy people want one thing. That thing is something that their money can't buy. When you have access, I'm lucky, I've got access to Ryder Cup captains, people that have won major golf tournaments, the Masters, British Open, things like that. So find that one thing that you've got, right? And that should be your marketing tagline. That should be your story. That is the thing that people will connect with, right? And when you start with one, it goes and goes and goes. With WealthX and the data that we can supply with that, I started off with 3 people that I knew that were ultra high net worth. They were all from the UK, but wintered in Barbados. And from that, I was able to get connections to their friends and to their trusted advisors and to their financial people. Okay. And it's actually remarkably simple, but you have to start with that in mind. And I'm happy to share that with you. Next one. Completed number of schemes, we'll go past that. Okay. Majority of people are in urban locations or golf resorts. It's really that simple. And if we can get you into 3 or 4, we could all as a group carry, right? Leverage into all of these developments that I've got, right?
Exactly.
We could absolutely do that. Put a little small focal group together of people. Maybe it's not for everybody, I get it. But for those of you that want it, my God, we could have a lot of fun with this. We really could. Emily Knudsen and I have talked for a year, and we have great conversations about international business. And there's nobody more excited about international business in this company than her, right? I mean, every time I turn, Facebook or LinkedIn, there's something international in your focus. International buyers are more likely to buy branded real estate than anybody else. Don't know why, but they do. It's just a fact. They love the resort lifestyle that you get in the Caribbean, in Dubai. America's not for everybody, right? We know that. But there's still great branded opportunities, but they're mostly in urban destinations. So Boston, New York, used to be San Francisco, not so much now. Nashville's another strong branded. Four Seasons have just sold out a huge product there. They've done really, really well in little Nashville. Who would have thought, right? The power of the brand. A man, does anybody know a man? The Man Hotels?
Yeah.
A man opened in Bal Harbour, so just below Sunny Isles, 50 units.
Sold out.
They sold them all before they opened the sales office.
Wow.
They sold them all. That's the power of the brand. Six Senses in Grenada, right? Mohammed Ghazali, he's done his third development there, sold them all. Okay. And he tells me, and I believe him, that only 5% of the people actually came to Grenada.
How does it work for us having a Florida license selling in the Caribbean or something like that?
You're good to go. You're good to go. There's nothing to stop you. If there's no licensing law, you would deal directly with a developer in a destination like that.
It's through the developer anyway. It's just like you work with a developer here. We have people who
Same
come
idea.
from anywhere and they go to the developer. The developer has their contracts. It's not like you're writing the contract. The developer does it.
You're not on a far bar or an
No.
access or anything silly like that.
It's more like you're bringing the customers,
Right.
right?
Yes, it's exactly that. So it's building that brand that you've got and building that story.
Mhm.
Now, selling new developments actually a breeze once you've done it once, because now it works and now you believe it and now you see it and now you feel it. Understanding every bit, spending. If I was starting a new development right now and I wanted to build it, I would be going every week to wherever I was selling, and I would meet with the on-site salespeople, with the on-site, sales manager, sales director, whoever she or he is. I would get to know the district, because people are moving to an area, right? They're not just, moving into a tower, right? I would really, really dive into that. And I tell you, if you give it 6 months, you'll connect. It will happen for you. Got to give it 6 months. So that's normally the time it'll take you to make your first sale, if you're on it every day.
And keep in mind, guys, the best thing here is, we both come from development, but Sotheby's is global. And so we can find feeder markets and we can access our feeder markets through Sotheby's.
Mhm.
So if we find a feeder market happens to be in Madrid, Spain, or we find a feeder market happens to be in New York, or we can access the Sotheby's there and work together within our own group.
Yeah.
That's where the amazing thing comes from. So as we're trying to meet up with the Wealth X, right, we can also see, oh, this person's really involved in the country club, and they're also on the board of directors at the Children's Health Hospital in Manhattan. Oh, I happen to know this realtor who's also very involved over there,
Mhm.
who happens to be at Sotheby's, right? This is how you work the brand to help also make those connections. It happens all the time.
Yeah, it absolutely does. The Dubai's been mentioned a couple of times. I mean, like some of the brand names in Dubai are just like unbelievable.
Yeah.
It's like, really? But the fact is that, once a year, it would be smart once you get into this to go to Dubai. I'd also be going to Saudi now. 100%. And I would sit in the lobby or in the bar or in the restaurant, well, wouldn't be no bar, well, maybe there is, at the Four Seasons or a Man or the Ritz-Carlton, and I would spend a week or 2 weeks and making network over there, because there's more money getting thrown at Saudi than you can ever imagine. And there's a lot of expats right now. I know there was, chat about, the number of the live golf stuff. They didn't like it. And, they were saying it was blood money and all the rest of it. It's just, the hypocrisy is unbelievable. There's 45,000 American citizens working in Saudi right now, 30,000 in Dubai.
And
they're all expats making money offshore. Go find them.
Guys, Aura has been really heavily involved in traveling, and they may not know exactly what to do when they're there, but go with them and then stay, right? And then hook up with Sotheby's while you're there.
Yes.
That's the beauty, right?
Yeah.
Go with Aura, see all the developments, which is like crazy because they just take you. Then you're exhausted, but then stay, then meet up with Sotheby's,
Right.
Connect with Sotheby's, and let them show you around. Then see Dubai, see Saudi with the actual Sotheby's people to show you around, because they will. That's the beautiful thing of our brand. Actually, trust me, I was at Aura all weekend. Well, actually, Florida Realtors, but we had people from Madrid there. Madrid is now getting involved through, they all just convention. So the point is they're trying to be very hyper global. But doing this in a very specific way, and take advantage of that.
Mm-hmm.
Go with the board on these things. This past year, they have traveled all over the world. Trust me, they keep wanting me to go, and go. Start your journey there, but then stay and make the connections through Sotheby's, because those are the connections. Portugal was there. The head of Portugal's association came to Aura to try to create a relationship, but she had more of a conversation with me, actually, which was really interesting because she loved the idea, because Sotheby's, we are so global. That is the point. We have such an opportunity because we truly are over there. A lot of companies say they're global because they have a website. Like, we're global, guys. They really are. So use that.
No, it's another point. So the other route to market, when you start to look at, has anybody been in Europe this summer?
Yep.
Yeah, you were there? Where were you?
I went to Greece, Turkey,
Right,
Italy,
Turkey, stop
France.
at Turkey, Istanbul, right?
We were in, Ephesus.
Right,
Deficit.
okay, so. I'm still gonna come back to Istanbul, right? Okay, because if not, I don't have a story, right?
Hmm.
So Istanbul is one of the most fascinating countries, cities in the planet, right? East meets west,
Mhm.
Bosphorus, madness, right? Of this city with what, 15, 20 million people? Absolutely. But more money in Turkey than anywhere else right now on that side of the planet. Why? Because all the Russians and all of the money that was coming out of Russia to the UK and the US is in Turkey now, right?
And
Okay,
where did Sotheby's just open, guys?
correct,
Istanbul.
Istanbul, right? So,
It's not an accident.
right, no, of course it's not an accident by design, right? So, let's say that there are probably in Istanbul half a dozen to 10 luxury branded real estate projects. I would begin my search with the one that was closest to sell out. And then I would go to these people that were selling, that got it to sell out. Means they're bloody good, right? Because they've sold it. And I would go to them and say, where are you going next? Why don't you be my partner? I've got 5 projects in Florida, right? Go and do it. Because people will still love to have the money in the US dollar, right? Rightly or wrongly, right? They see that this is still a stable and a safe place for their money. I get it. Compared to Russia, it is. When inflation's about 25% last month, right? So I get it. So having the ability to connect into a project that's almost sold out and get to the people and the realtors or the on-site sales team that were selling it, quick win.
They
And that would be
refer to
every
you.
city, right?
Yeah.
Every city. Go and look at that. Who sold out Ritz? Who sold out Waldorf? Who sold out whatever brand you're talking about? Six Senses are more small and boutique, so they've got the first hotel now in New York. But other than that, I would say Four Seasons. Anything that's selling out. Madrid. There's a Four Seasons in Madrid, right? That's well underway on sales. They've got a new one in Ibiza. Okay. And I think there's one down in Marbella or somewhere down there as well. So looking at these, Four Seasons are trophy collectors. So the guy that comes from London or Ireland or Switzerland or wherever that's buying in these destinations, okay, they don't know that there's one in Miami or there's one here in town, right? So once you get into that side, you'll never leave it. Because the hardest thing that we have right now is either getting listings at a sensible price, right? Listings, having somebody that's willing to pay above what's being associated with normal or typical interest rates, right? Okay, interest rates going up again. Okay, people that are buying this stuff, they're not interested in interest rates.
Yeah.
It's like, what are you
Yeah,
talking
yeah.
about,
Yeah.
right? Why are you mentioning this? Right? So your job is to go and find these people, right? Go and find them and go and come up with your story and your brand. Okay, become the expert in that and become that go-to person for somebody else. Because that agent that's run out of homes to sell, you only make money once when you sell the home. They want to partner with you. They want to do that. And that's what I've done for certainly the last 15 to 20 years. That's how I've grown our little business out of London and Glasgow. Of course, here as well. It's amazing. The exchange rate has really helped us over the last few months. It's gotten better. Yeah, we see the British people. I think we've 4 or 5 sales in the last week just because of that alone. All right. So I would say that when you then get the client and you have got that client and you're now, how do we sell them? What do we do? Okay, learn the brand story. Anybody can build a home. Not anybody, but you know what I mean, right? People build homes. People build high-rise towers. It's the story. Go and learn the story. Go and stay in one of these hotels. Go and be, most of the lobbies in these branded hotels have got somebody telling the story, right? Okay, go and stay in them and learn. It's remarkably simple. And that's how you sell it. is by selling that, not the real estate, right? Selling the brand story for me is everything. So I've got some bits and pieces here. Look. So it's a high quality. Yeah, we like to go big money here, right? Right, paper or plastic, right? Karen's gonna give you that. So, while she's doing that. Yeah, have a look. For those of you that are keen.
Yes.
Okay, excellent.
Everybody, was that enough for everybody?
Yes.
Okay, good. So, for anybody that's on the call that isn't here, we will share all this digitally, Carrie.
Okay,
I'll
great.
send it to you.
Okay,
and you
terrific, and I
you
can
do
share it.
that, Okay,
Beautiful.
Thank you.
so, this is the most ridiculous tower I've ever seen.
It's beautiful.
It's beyond belief. They went the very opposite way. So normally, you've all been down Miami Beach from Sunny Isles all the way down,
Yeah.
you see these unbelievable towers, some of them that now look old, that are only
Yeah.
10 years old.
Yeah.
You're like, wow, look at the size of the balcony and it's tiny and all the rest of it. So they went the other way. And rather than having all of the entertainment on the inside of the house, these balconies in some cases are almost 2,000 square feet.
My God,
Absolutely remarkable.
my favorite part.
Every home has its own swimming pool. Every home, every condo has its own swimming pool, right?
Wow.
I'm not talking about something the size of a big bathtub that Lennar or D.R. Horton would give.
Yeah.
This is,
exactly.
this
So what
is,
is your car?
right? There's not that there's anything wrong with that, by the way. I'm not suggesting there is, right? Nothing quite like that. But in this case, these are 20 or 25 feet long,
Wow.
right? And heated, right? But the space is on the outside of the house.
Wow.
It's absolutely remarkable. Gaggenau kitchens that were designed, every piece and every component of this building, the common areas, the exterior, the glass, everything has been designed by Bentley. The first of its kind in the planet, and maybe the last. Right? This is the highest, tallest tower on the East Coast that's on directly in the water. The East Coast of America. So really remarkable. And for those of you that would like to come down and join me and become preferred ambassadors and realtors, then at the end of October, I'm going to piece that together. You'll come down and stay on a Friday or a Saturday night, and spend the weekend having a bit of fun. Maybe go out on one of the yachts, that kind of thing. But more importantly, learn how to sell. Before that, we would do a number of events locally. I'd like to carry an event even in here,
I think it's a great idea.
right? And bring our clients and our prospects into this.
Yeah. We
They're-
do like a wine and cheese.
yeah,
sort of
yeah,
event.
yeah, absolutely. We'll bring a Bentley, we'll open the doors, we'll drive a Bentley straight into the front door. Right, exactly.
Time for renovation?
Right, right. If we do it properly, you know, we'll maybe even go and speak to the Bentley dealership here.
Oh, we could have the Bentley up front.
Absolutely, yeah,
Absolutely. That's a great
absolutely.
idea.
We could do a Bentley event, and I would actually get some of the guys from Bentley in Miami up to come and join us.
How many have they sold?
They are right now about, they had 100 sort of preferred, you know, offers that were given. And out of that, I think about 80 of them have converted into sales.
How many do they have total units?
So they got about 125 left.
Okay, 125, yeah.
It'll be delivered in 4.5 years. We're just getting started. But the commission is paid, I think, half now, and half in completion. Pretty nice. Yeah, it's proper money. Once you get a taste for it, it's, you know,
Yeah, no, exactly, yeah.
right? Now, we talked about WealthX, okay? Now, this is a deep dive, right? So there are people in this room that I don't really know. I know all your faces, but I don't know you. There's some that I know better than others. So I'll just share what I believe to be the way forward. Every year we spend money on personal development, right? Okay,
Sure do.
some more than others. Every year, some of us spend marketing money, some more than others. Some years people take a big leap of faith and they jump, and they really jump. And when you have to hold your nose because of the water that's going up it when you jump, that's a big jump. And I'm going to say that there'll be somebody in this room right now that'll be willing to do or consider what I'm about to share. Okay. When I first started with WealthX, actually I was on their advisory board when they launched in 2012. I had no idea what they were doing, but they asked me to do it. I had a listing in Barbados that was 125 million. Okay. The irony is that I got them an offer for 95 that they turned down, and now 8 years later, they're still trying to sell it for 75.
Oh, see that?
Right?
That's what happens.
Right? It's a wonderful thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm. Yeah,
You know, the build it and they will come mentality.
never
That's
works.
Right, it's
Mhm.
madness, it really is. Anyway, I subscribe to be a professional membership person with them. I was on their board, but that was for another reason. That same membership today that cost, I think, about $10,000 or $12,000 is $20,000 a year. It's a lot of money. But it's your access to everything that you will ever need if you want to sell to the high levels. Now, maybe some of you are in a team here. Maybe some of you work with partners, split it. And then you'll have access to the keys to the chamber, right? This is to the best people in the world. Let me tell you a story. I took a huge leap of faith, took money out of my wife and I's savings account, never told her, right? Right,
tell your mom.
exactly. Well, she doesn't to me, right? So I just wish to, yeah, that's not, yeah, but 20 purses are.
Some purse.
Yeah, exactly. 20 purses at 500 soon adds up, right?
Mhm.
Okay, but and strangely enough, the purse is a great example because there are collectors of these high-end purses. You know, like when you're in Mayfair in London, you walk down the street and there's a little shop that's got one thing in the window, like one thing. How much is this thing costing? Right? There's
Always one of those persons.
who?
No.
I think that's
A purse
probably
person, not a Birkin person, though.
right.
I think that's a kind of purse you're talking about,
Yeah,
but wouldn't mind that in. my
right,
investment.
because these are investments and goals, right? So let's get back to that. So I was doing small events in a small private club in London every month, selling product in Barbados. And I would bring somebody from the Financial Times, somebody from Architectural Digest, somebody from the London Times, somebody that would talk about art or sport, bring a top soccer player that I had access to, or a golfer. And we would have 8 or 10 people, and we would be in Annabelle's or 5 Hartford Street, one of these lovely little private clubs. And these people were coming not to see me, they were coming because I had a superstar beside them. You know, I had Patrick Vieira, I had Ian Woosnam, right? I had Paul Laurie, I had whoever from the art world, or somebody from Country Life magazine, somebody that had something different to hear the story. But that person was selected by me, okay? And the story would get round at the end of the meal to, hey, tell me about your attitude to property investment. What's your attitude towards art investment? What do you know about investing in, soccer clubs and all these kind of things? There was a guy there, I'll tell you his first name, it was Peter, and he lived in Grosvenor Square in London, very wealthy guy, was an entrepreneur and had interests in the Caribbean. And he told me that he wanted to come and see me about this and other homes in Barbados that he was interested in. For 6 months, I worked on this guy. By the way, I got this guy from WealthX, right? I was able to look at his hobbies, his pastimes, his interests, where he had invested before. So I slowly start to talk to him about everything that's not real estate. Okay? I'd send him in articles, I'd send him books, right? Never send anybody alcohol, made that mistake, sent a case of Opus 1 many years ago to a guy who was a recovering alcoholic, and his wife sent it back to me. She goes, I appreciate it, but if I had not been here, that would have been too much for him. Lesson learned by stupid here. Thought I was doing the right thing. Now I buy golf balls and I have them personalized with their names on it. Every time they go to the golf course, they remember me, right? Because they've got golf balls with this guy. All I did was spend 10 million and he gave me 3 golf balls. It was fantastic. I exaggerate for effect, right? But the point is that. So Peter and I found it very hard to get him to commit to come down. Every day I get an update on WealthX of people that were in my realm, okay, and things that had happened to them. A financial event, a stock event, a wealth event, a social, a private, all of something that's happened, I would be getting this daily feed. And I see that on this particular Peter, he had become a member of Guards Polo Club. Guards is the original big polo club in London and Windsor. And if you remember there, your hoi polloi and your all that kind of stuff. And I saw that. So I immediately sent him and his assistant an email congratulating him on his new membership. And will he need a new blazer to go along with that? Oh, and by the way, why don't you think about learning more about polo by coming down and spending a week with us here in Barbados, because we have 5 or 6 polo teams. One of them is owned by the developer. And we will have all the best Argentinian polo coaches teach you about the game. 10 minutes later, the phone rings. Now, that wasn't because I was selling them a home. It was because I was watching. I was paying attention. I was looking for that. And that feed of information came through, just changed everything. Sure enough, he came down. He was the guy that put in the offer for 95 million, which was turned down. I was still trying to sell it for 75. Bizarre, right? So that is a true story of how WealthX and using the hobbies, the interests, and the pastimes. Everybody knows, you know, you can go onto the Forbes website and get a list of the top 200 people. Do you know how many emails they get on a daily basis? Do you know how many emails they respond to? Close your eyes, what do you see?
Yeah.
Nothing, not one of them, because nothing's different. You haven't shown anything. All it needs is one person. Think of the wealthiest person you know. Think of the most influential person you know. That is how you start. And when you start with that, you can then go into WealthX extensive network and see who they're all connected to and why they're connected. Are they on the same boardroom? I ended up going to the most ridiculous art shows. I couldn't even tell you if it was painted or if it was pictured. I had no idea, but I would go so that I could meet people, right? And my golf gets me onto lots of golf clubs, right? You know, my network in London's pretty decent. And you have a story. Your personal brand is your story. Is any of you, do you still do the personal branding classes?
Yeah.
Right.
Actually, you know what, Christine Newell, Kathy Forrester just did a personal branding
Right.
class.
So how does that attract somebody? If you were looking at your personal brand, would you be attracted to it? Right. Why?
No, that's what you want.
Right.
You want-
So the answer is why. Why are they going to be attracted to me? Right?
You want to be a part of somebody else, right?
Yes, you have a story. You know, how many times have we said to somebody when you're selling new development, oh, by the way, I've sold a home here. Who else do you know that might be interested? Right? And what do you normally get? StockX. Right? Why? Because you're asking them to do your job. It's not your job, it's not their job. When you get into this kind of level of that higher end, right? Because you've now got a strategy that goes beyond a transaction, right? You are literally providing them with a solution. Okay, here's the next one, here's the next one, here's the next one. But more importantly, you now know who they're connected to. So you do your research on Bob Smith, who's been referred to by Mary Smith, right? So now you can ask Mary Smith, hey Mary, I see you're related to Bob, and Bob has been coming to Florida for years, and I see he's interested in blah, 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 blah. I'd like 10 minutes with him. Could you please send him an email, include me? Given the fact that they've done business with you, they'll do it. Right? They'll do it. You're not asking them for who do they know. You're saying, hey, I need a phone call with this guy. Right? I'd like to be able to provide him with the same service that I provided you with. I think you would be somebody, would you mind? I've never had anybody tell me no. Why would they? They wouldn't have bought from us if they didn't trust us. So you find people like that, and the exact same story starts again. What are you going to ask? Are you going to ask something? No. No, okay. So that's how you do that. So for WealthX, you know, if 3 or 4 of you, if you don't want to spend $20,000, I get it, right? I get it. It's not your market. There's no problem with that. But if you do, or if you've got 2 or 3 of you, or 4 of you that can go together, wow, there's no reason. Just put it in a company name or a group name, buy the membership, throw in $5,000 each, and now you've got access to stuff, and you've made a commitment that takes you in the top 1% of all real estate salespeople, not realtors, real estate salespeople. I'm sorry, but there's a difference for me, right? There really is. Okay, I mean, the development sales that you came from, we should do more of these development sales classes.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Right, we really should. It's a different planet, and when you get into new development, you'll never leave it. Why? Because you'll have clients that want more. They will tell you what you need. They will tell you what they want.
The difference in doing new development from being general, like you guys have been on site, right? Got some on sites in here, but
yeah.
on site, you're stuck with one project. The beautiful thing of being Sotheby's and on site in this area is you can represent tons of development. But the point is here now we're representing the customers and bringing them to the developments that suit their purpose and their needs, right? That's what makes this so much better. You can be an expert representing a developer and going and finding the right customers for the Bentley and the Four Seasons. You're not stuck to one product line, right? You're not stuck in a sales center all day long with nobody coming in, right? This is your business. We have cookies here, right? This is what the beautiful thing about being in the general side is. I mean, I love new development. That's where I come from. That's like my background, but there's nothing like having this be your business.
Yeah,
it's very different.
100%. The final point about new development, particularly in the higher end, is that these buyers want a story. They need a back page story. They want to know that there's something different here. That I've got a choice here. I've got an opportunity that nobody else or very few people have got. They need that story. So practice and rehearse that story. And there's nothing wrong with us just starting as a group here with Bentley, right? What's the story?
And I'm going to say one other thing, especially for Jessica speaks Spanish. Who else speaks Spanish in here? You guys speak Spanish. You speak Spanish. You speak Portuguese. Listen, when I have my international brokerage, I'm going to call Jenny my favorite customer from Peru. Did I ever tell anybody about Jenny? Jenny built, and I'm going to say this right because it was very embarrassing when I said it wrong. Conscious, not conscious, conscious. Okay, and there's a distinction there. We all know. Let's speak Spanish.
Yeah,
anyway.
Just a little bit, right?
Yes.
Right.
So at any rate, so when I met her doing a show down in Peru, and she came and became a customer of ours, and so she was so impressed that I was her broker. You would think that I was like the godfather or something. And I didn't know how wealthy she was. I knew she had a lot of money, but when I came down the second time, she wanted to show me one of her contests. So she takes me to the 3rd, 4th floor where it was this huge development. She owned the entire development. I
Oh,
didn't
wow.
know. She is like the mayor in all of in Peru. She owns them. She owned like 21 throughout Peru. She owns tons of them. She's so wealthy. When I took her to Miami to Brickell, we were in Brickell City Center. She bought one of the units for herself, got on the phone, and she had 4 people right there write a contracts because Jenny was buying
Okay.
one. Jenny
Let's phone
needs
Jenny. Let's phone Jenny. What are we waiting for?
Messy
Right,
man,
exactly,
you
yeah.
he made Jenny, but the point is they trust you. When you get someone
Yeah,
to
yeah,
your
yeah, for
point,
sure.
who trusts you, who believes in your representation. Guys, this is something that we could be doing, especially people from other countries that have money. Let's not forget that. Let's really try to hone in on that because they love that representation. Remember, buying internationally, the most important thing here is transparency, and you get to use our money too. Even if they don't need it, they can, right? They love that. Even if they don't need our money, they can use our money. She didn't need our money. She was so wealthy, but she went down to the black market because she didn't want to pay the
Really? Yeah,
Jenny, what do
love
you
it.
do? I don't want to pay that. I don't want to pay that exchange rate. I'm like, okay, whatever.
well, it's a different culture.
That's why she has the money,
It's a
right?
different culture.
But my point is, guys, don't overlook the power of trust. The trust that you have being here and being able to provide that kind of representation, right? So don't overlook that.
Yeah.
It's something great.
Well, listen, I know we're over time here, and I just love this. I really do. And it's remarkable that you can find people from other Sotheby's offices and other that don't have a clue, because most people have got their head down in their own area, go and do their job for them, right? Because I still find it baffling that even in Miami, there are agents that work for Sotheby's in Aventura or Sunny Isles, wherever,
They
they don't do it. And they've got product right there. You know, I had a horrible story in Toronto last year from a guy from Sotheby's from Peerage up there. A sales guy came to an event I was at, and one of his clients had gone down to Barbados that winter, spent 8 million in a condo. And he goes, I didn't even know he was going to Barbados. How can you not know what your customers are doing? Right? I mean, every 3 months, 6 months at the most, to my own old time clients, the ones that have been a long time with me, I send them a simple email. What are your plans for the next 6 months when it comes to real estate? And what do you need me for?
How can I be of service?
Right.
Yeah.
Well, I'm going, right? If you're not asking that, you probably should. You probably are, of course, but right?
It's
But-
true.
Right? Every 6 months, what are your plans? You know, Dr. Thomas Stanley wrote a book called The Millionaire Next Door, right? It was about 30 years ago. You remember that book? And everyone was like, that's great, that's great. I went back to it recently and I read a bit, and it talked about, and WealthX gives you this heads up. He wouldn't have known about WealthX 30 years ago because it didn't exist. But essentially, people with wealth, you know, all of a sudden somebody go, oh God, they appeared, I haven't spoken to them for a year. And all of a sudden they're here and they want to buy something, right? We've all had that, right? Well, it's only a surprise to you, but it's not a surprise to them, right? Why? Because they knew this event was coming. And he talks about that. WealthX now tells you that they've got a financial event coming. They don't phone you up and say, Teresa, guess what? In 6 months' time, I'm going to sell all my stock. I'm going to cash in. I'm going to do it. They just don't do it. They don't do it. Right? Just scrape. It's all public, but they have about 200 data scrapers around the world, constantly scraping. You'd be amazed.
Just stuff online that they can get.
Yeah, and beyond. Yeah, and beyond. You know, they go to stock markets and they go to, you know, different sources. I think there's about 50 sources that they pull data from. It's not just about, it's all about the life. You know, it's about the lifestyle. It's the why, right? Why?
See, like, I think I would be uncomfortable because that's not my life.
Mhm.
You know what I mean? I just feel, I don't know, just putting it out there. Like, you seem really comfortable. You can hang out at Four Seasons, you drive the Bentley and do. I would be like, oh, is that the kind of car are, you know, is that a Bentley? What it, you know what I mean? Like, I don't necessarily know what a Birkin bag looks like.
Right, okay,
That's what the internet's for.
But I mean, I know a lot of people with a lot of money don't care about what you know.
so it's
But
not
also a
about,
lot of people do.
right,
Like, you
so,
look at your bag and your shoes and that's it, and you're either in or you're out.
right, so that's an honest and fair point that you've made.
Yeah, me too, but I'm just.
Right, so it's honest and fair, but in all honesty, they don't care who you are. They care about the service that you provide, that you do it quietly. I mean, somebody said to me recently, Ross, I don't really see much about you on social media. Of course not, it's not about me, I don't care. I'm doing service for my customers, right? It's about, I don't want them thinking that, hey, you've spent $5 million with me last month. I'm going to tell the world. It's the last thing that they should want and have. So they don't know really, you know, that you don't have a Bentley or that you stay in a $2,000 a night suite. I don't think they either care. And the fact is that you're not their friend. You're not here to hang out with them. I hear this all the time. Oh yeah, we got on really well. We're really friendly. No, you're not. No, you're not. All the time I get asked, when you come to such and such, come and stay with us. Sure, I will. And then I never do.
Right.
Right? Because all it takes is one wrong smile, one wrong word, one missed question, and then it's off. I'm a provider. Read the book, Trusted Sales Advisor. It's all about trust. They have a thing called the trust quotient, right?
I want to say one thing to that. So I don't know if those of you guys who don't know, but I started my career as an opera singer, as you know, and opera is extremely expensive. So I worked on Wall Street and I worked for right out of college. I was just going to be a receptionist. That's all I wanted. But I got roped in month 2 working for the CEO and chairman of the hedge fund, Julian Robertson, the 13th richest man in the world. So I worked for him for years. I kept trying to get out of the job, but they wouldn't let me go. I worked everywhere in that company. That's where I learned all my stuff.
Now you spend your weekends with Aura.
And now don't remind me. Anyway, but my point is that all his suits were custom made, but you wouldn't know that. He had a driver, but he was never flashy. He, you know, I mean, on our board was Senator Bob Dole. Donald Trump used to hang over my desk all the time, which was disgusting, but that's another story. I mean, you know,
Wow.
Margaret Thatcher used to come in all the time. I mean, it was amazing. The people who used to walk through our, it was incredible. I know, right out of college, I'm like, but my point,
Amazing.
the people who had the lot of money, you don't know it. They are not like that.
The real,
The people who show the money, they don't really have all the money. They're
Yeah.
the flashy people.
you know, we used to call them flip-flop millionaires. We call them flip-flop billionaires now, right? And there's about 2,600 billionaires in the planet, somewhere around that. And you know, they're not what you think. They're more interested in the hobbies, they're interested in the fact that's what gets them going.
Yeah.
It's really remarkable.
It was about who built the respect. That's
Yeah. You know, the trusted advisors that they
Mhm.
have, you know, that are financial or insurance or legal, they're not all living the same life.
Mm-mm.
They're not. So it's a good question, Maria. But it's all about your ethics and your values and your character with these guys, and a bit of fun, right? Be yourself, right?
Mhm.
Just be who.
Sorry, the author of the book,
Which one?
the trusted advisor.
Charles
Charles.
Green.
I think there's like 2 of them.
Yeah.
on there.
There's Steve something.
Yeah, Charles Green was the original guy.
Well, we have to thank you, Alice.
Well, I don't know if that was helpful.
And it was
Hopefully
very
There
helpful,
was
yeah.
a little nugget or two in there for you all, and a few takeaways. I'm always, you know, I'm always happy.
Dragon.
Yeah, I'm always happy if you need some one-on-one time. Think about the Wealth X stuff. If you want to have an introduction to Ultrata, to have a discussion with them, I'll share that with you. And then I'll share the last billionaire report with you.
That'd be great.
Just, do we have a place that we can put? I could put it on the WhatsApp group, couldn't I?
Yeah, you
I
totally
could
could.
do that. I could put that on there. And some other bits and pieces, but Ultrata just did, who's the parent company of WealthX now, just did release the billionaire
that'd be great.
2022 report. It's fascinating. You know, it might not be for everybody, but if somebody in the room is interested, I'm happy to bring you along and help you with that.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
Well,
All right, I'm gonna say goodbye to everybody online. Thanks,
Goodbye
guys, for
online.
coming.
Thank you.